The city of Voronezh and its citizens experienced heavy burden during the Great Patriotic War of the 14-18 days of the Soviet Union's war against Nazi Germany. 212 were particularly difficult, heroic, and tragic for Voronezh. From 28 of June 1942 to 25 of January 1943. Those days the bloody battles with a cruel and insidious enemy were going directly for the city. The Nazis failed to take Voronezh completely. The Voronezh residents felt the terrible breeze of the war already on the first of those days. On 28 of June a martial law was declared in the region. On the second day of the war for the city, Voronezh and the surrounding areas were in the zone that was at risk of the air attack. By order of the commandant of the city, a system of air and chemical alarms was announced. So the war came to Voronezh. On 12th of July 1942, the first offensive operation of the Voronezh front began with Lieutenant General Vatutin, appointed commander 2 days later. The 303rd Rifle Division of Colonel Ostrokhov, which entered the battle directly from the march, fought skillfully and stoutly in the area of the Zadonsky Highway in July of 1942. Mostly natives from distant Siberia were in the division. The division commander was mortally wounded in the battle. Afterwards, one of the new streets of Voronezh in the southwestern district was called Heroes of Siberia in their honor. On 12th of August 1942, the troops of the 40th Army under the command of General Popov launched an offensive from the left bank of Voronezh, crossed the Voronezh River at the Vogressovskaya Dam, established a foothold on the right bank in the riverside part of the former settlement of Chizhovka, and established a bridgehead on the right bank in the southern part of the city, called Chizhovsky Bridgehead. The fierce fighting on the Chizhovsky Hills continued until the end of August. The attempts of the Germans to liquidate the Chizhovsky Bridgehead were repulsed with heavy losses for them. Although in July and August 1942, the Nazi invaders carried out mass executions of patriots in Voronezh. One of the places of execution was, according to eyewitnesses, the Sovetskaya, former Mesnaya Square. Here, on the fence of the Pervomaisky garden, the corpses of dozens of people, both the civilians of Voronezh and the prisoners of war, were left for intimidation, and they were not allowed to be removed for several days. On 15th of September, the Soviet soldier launched a new offensive operation in Voronezh. The fierce fightings broke out on the Chizhovsky Bridgehead. They were attended by a combined detachment of the People's Military under the command of Captain Greshev, made up of 120 Voronezh residents. The German fascist command was forced to send large reinforcements to Voronezh, removing them from other sections of the front from the reserve. Thus, the defenders of Voronezh helped the defenders of Stalingrad, where one of the decisive battles of the Great Patriotic War broke out in the autumn of 1942. Voronezh was liberated on 25 of January 1943 after the decisive Voronezh-Kastorne offensive, and on 26 of January the civilians began to return to the city. For 212 days the front line passed through Voronezh. The active defense of the city helped Stalingrad to survive and win, as up to a third of the forces of the Army Group B had been shackled. The city was destroyed by more than 90%. During the war, more than 32,000 natives of Voronezh were killed. 13 natives of Voronezh became heroes of the Soviet Union. 3 people became full Knights of the Order of Glory. The feat of the city of Voronezh in the Great Patriotic War was marked by a high government award, the Order of the Patriotic War of the First Degree, and in 2008 the city of Voronezh was awarded the high title, the City of Military Glory. We must remember the past and look into the future and understand that nothing justifies war, because it takes away the most valuable thing, life.
Хоть и мне 25, трудный путь им пришлось пройти.